Before I start this video, I want to say something because I know you'll be watching, Brad, and Arielle's sweetie, I hope you're watching too. For some years now, your content, and for 10 years your buddy Arielle's content, has been about crazy queer activists, crazy trans activists, crazy non-binary activists. You claim our identities aren't real, but you continue to platform us. You continue to share us. In fact, your buddy Arielle admitted in that video to leaving her home on her free day, probably without a shower, for the sole purpose of interviewing us. You're obsessed. We are your paycheck. You might not want us, but you certainly need us. Laughing at crazy SJWs is literally you and Arielle's entire brand, so naturally you need an unlimited supply of SJWs to meet up with your audience's demand. Because at least in Arielle's case, who I noticed couldn't show up, I guess you only respond to people who are too scared to fight back. So in Arielle's case, I noticed that, you know, without the bullying, there is no other content. So what exactly do you do? Same script, different cast, same scripts, different grifter. As we are your paycheck, let's stop pretending that you actually have an issue with us and start admitting that we're the main reason you get paid. Hey, I won't deny that some of you haven't been profitable for me either, but the margins are disproportionately different. So on behalf of myself and all the other queer activists who have, you know, single-handedly paid your bills for the last 4 years, you're welcome. Wow, what's up, rebels? My name's Willy and I am one half of Leo and Willy. We are engaged. We are queer. And today I am here to respond to Brad Polumbo responding to me, reacting to, oh God, he is going to explain that a lot better in just a second. But before he does, let's get into it.
So the context we need to know for this first story is that my friend Arielle Scarcella and I recently did a bonus video for my channel where we reacted to some of the craziest clips that she's gotten while interviewing young queer people at Pride events, and talked about the different ways that nonsensical ideas and ideologies have infiltrated the LGBT community and are sadly bringing it down.
It was such a long-winded way of saying me and my friend Arielle bullied a bunch of children on the internet and now someone's doing it to us. Please care.
We've got a male and a female
wearing an ugly ass purple wig.
It's kind of funnier when you just encourage them.
A little bit. That's my way of figuring out how to put posties to TikTok without getting hate speech violations. So
it's just to like, encourage their
just to encourage it and just be like, I don't get it, to the camera afterwards, you know?
Be for real.
And Willy, one of the two, made a video about us that was kind of funny at parts, but very hateful.
I'm hateful?
Especially when you yourself are not exactly the reincarnation of Einstein. So you think that you just did your big one or like really had a moment with this, but actually it's just kind of embarrassing.
You said you got an OnlyFans?
I do.
Of course. She has an OnlyFans. And of course it's massively popular. Men, straight men, I blame you. Babe. Put down the crack pipe.
It's interesting how easy it is to spot hatefulness when you're the victim, right? We are queer, and today I am here to react to Brad Polumbo featuring Arielle Scarcella being absolute clowns.
I also thought it was really kind of nasty to talk about Arielle like that, like not really substantively disagree with anything she had to say, but suggest that she smells bad, which, by the way, I've met her several times in person, isn't true, but regardless, is just like really nasty. And I think this person, Willy's idea is, well, I'll fight fire with fire.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Arielle doesn't smell. If you think I was trying to fight
fire with fire,
that would suggest that you, the other party, was trying to bring heat, right? It's not my fault I turned it up. You seem super upset that someone has finally treated you the exact same way you treat other people. You're not a victim, Brad. Come on, surely you and Arielle aren't looking for those dirty little oppression points.
They want to be oppressed, they want to be a victim, and they want to feel special.
All I see is that you and Arielle were served a little dose of your own energy and rhetorics, and suddenly it's all super mean and hurtful. Hashtag ooh. Literally could not care less. I'm trying. It's like, oh, no, nothing. Nothing's there. You and your little buddy Arielle want to stop picking on the community hatefully. I'll stop defending them hatefully. And we can shake on that. He's someone who, again, has some real anti-progressive views as well. I'll say very anti-progressive views. The fact that this video is entitled "Normal Gays React to Insane Queer Activists" is pretty much all you need to know, right?
So I would be quite interested to hear this person's deep dive on me. So we'll stay tuned and see if that comes out. But I found it so funny how she's like, he has some very anti-progressive ideologies. Yes, because I'm not a progressive. I'm a classical liberal, center-right politically. Some might use the word libertarian, although it's kind of cringe, but I believe in free speech, free market capitalism, limited government. I reject identitarianism.
1 hour later.
I believe in coexistence and tolerance, but not radical woke stuff.
Later.
So no, I don't agree with progressive ideologies, which, at least in a US context, often involve ridiculous social agendas forced down people's throats and radical expansions of
1 eternity later.
government power that infringe on the economics that made America prosperous in the first place. So it's not like some gotcha to be like, he has anti-progressive ideologies. Yeah, that's the point of me, actually.
Brad, you just took a minute to tell me in a very long-winded way that I'm right. What on earth was that monologue? Like, truly, if I added music into it, it could evoke feeling.
I believe in coexistence and tolerance, but not radical woke stuff. So no, I don't agree with progressive ideologies, which at least
It low-key did. As you were. I have an issue with these two idiots debating what constitutes as a correct trans person. As cis people, you know, it's truly none of our businesses. It's not, but I'm gonna call it out.
So this was interesting to me because Willy is very upset that we're just pointing out the obvious incoherency of these young people's identity. Because if you say you're a trans man, what that is supposed to mean is that you are a biological female who experiences a mental condition called gender dysphoria, where you have severe and intense psychological distress about your birth sex, so you want to live as if and present yourself as if you are the other sex, even though you are not. That's what that's supposed to mean, and as far as adults are concerned, I've never really had any problem with that. But this person is saying they're that, but also that they choose to present feminine and are comfortable with that.
That's not all he said.
Do you have gender dysphoria?
Yes, heavily.
But you're still femme presenting?
Yeah, I still femme present. I find it comfortable, but at the same time, it does get hard when I can't look masked.
He mentioned in the video that he wasn't someone who was able to pass as a masked person, which is something that you and Arielle just completely ignored. There are many reasons why people aren't on HRT, and all of those reasons are valid. There are physical, medical, weight restrictions, and all these other nuances that can be a reason why someone literally cannot have access to HRT or surgery. And if that was the case, and some men can't have access to gender-affirming care, but still would wear masculine clothes, but may not pass by society standard, these people still get bullied by content creators that you call friends. An example of one of those friends would be someone you just collaborated with, Arielle Scarcella. You know, the one I was super hateful and super hurtful to, even though I said nothing that could hold a candle, not even a candle, to the decade of abuse that she's inflicted on the internet. But you don't mention that, do you? Some would say that's strategic. I say spineless. The fact is if people don't pass or match your expectations of what it means to be the correct trans person, they can't win. So I think it's a great thing that all these people went to Pride feeling like winners in their own eyes. Why is that a bad thing?
And I don't understand why it's wrong for us to point that out when this has been lumped in with us. All this radical gender stuff has been attached to the gay and lesbian and bisexual rights movement. And as a result, our acceptance is going down. There's backlash against us and against gay marriage.
I'll be honest and say there's quite a lot that I still need to learn about American law as a Brit. I'm not ashamed of that fact. But I'm pretty sure, regardless of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure that the person who's taking your gay rights away isn't trans or non-binary, unless that's how Trump identifies these days. I truly don't know. I haven't caught up. Has Trump come out? You're misdirecting anger. You're truly angry at the wrong people. And truthfully, we're both being distracted from the people who are actually the oppressors. Trans and non-binary people aren't the reason why gay rights are being taken away. Some straight legislator is. And for someone that continuously states that they don't want to be lumped in with all these crazy people, you have completely solidified a social footprint that has you connected to all these crazy people. Your digital footprint is created by you, and you're the only one feeding it to the algorithm. So if you keep feeding the algorithm the same content about crazy people and crazy gays, then you are absolutely solidifying a digital SEO. That's the makeup of your brand. Your whole career is based on the people you don't want to be lumped against. How does that make sense? If you don't want to be lumped with them, stop talking about them. You guys remember that time when you actively didn't want to be associated with certain people, so you went out of your way to actively be associated with certain people? Yeah, me neither.
I do find it funny how so many of these kind of woke types have this form of identitarian brain rot where they will openly say, you can't have an opinion on that because you are a member of X demographic, as if that's at all logical or not totally inconsistent with democracy.
That's not what I said. I said, truthfully, as cis people, it's not really any of our places to be arguing about what constitutes as the right trans person. The same way I wouldn't be advocating for two Catholics to debate Islamic law. It doesn't mean they can't, but they're probably not the best equipped. Advocating for the people we are discussing to be involved in this discussion is not a new or ambitious concept, but I've noticed it's a new one for you, isn't it? That's why you've contacted me and asked me to come on the channel to talk about trans and non-binary identities, a label which none of us actually identify as, whilst not having the foresight to actually invite a trans or non-binary person. You want me to come on your channel and discuss trans and non-binary identities because you don't believe them when they tell you who they are. So I should come on and convince you about that, someone who isn't trans or non-binary. I will not be engaging in your little parade.
I'm sorry, but it's not none of our business when, again, y'all have lumped us in with this. I did not ask to be lumped in with the people pushing to give children sex changes.
Yes, you did. Like I said, your entire digital footprint is you actively lumping yourself with the people you claim you don't want to be lumped with. So you said, hey, YouTube, do that thing you do where you push my video out into the algorithm where I'm digitally connected to the people that I'm speaking with and discussing upon my own free will. You did ask, and now you've got it. Congrats. We're here.
I feel like she totally missed our point. Of course I believe that men and women can be gender non-conforming. I've said all the time, I think it's okay for men to wear makeup or be feminine and sassy or not be typically masculine in whatever way. My whole point is that doesn't make them non-binary. It doesn't make them not a man. It also doesn't mean they're actually trans and they have some gender identity as a woman. That's actually the worldview tied up with the gender ideology that this person, Willy, believes. Now, what we did say was that it doesn't make any sense for a trans man to want to present feminine and also be comfortable being feminine, because then that's just a woman.
Firstly, I didn't miss your point. I think you missed me not missing your point. It's okay. So to summarize, you absolutely do think that men can be feminine and gender non-conforming as long as they are not trans. Why? If a cis man can be gender non-conforming and feminine, then why can't a trans man? A trans man, by your definition, is a biological woman who feels like a man. So why have you personally projected your own misogynistic views on what it means to be a man? So in order for a trans man to be a man, they must be masculine, but cis men can be whatever they want. Your views are absolutely rooted in misogyny because you literally default to this idea in your head, and I know you do, that if someone discovers that they are in fact a trans man, that they must be discovering that they are a masculine trans man, as opposed to just a man who comes in many ways, which you have just stated yourself, sometimes can be sassy.
Wear makeup or be feminine.
But not for trans men. How is that not prejudice and discriminative? Right? Identity is a personal thing. Identity, it's literally there. And so if you don't understand it, there's Google's free. It's free. You have the internet, the same internet you're using to talk nonsense. Use that same internet to educate yourself. It's free. Hey, it's free.
So I found this bit very interesting because she's essentially suggesting that it is never okay to view someone else's identity as incoherent or invalid because it's just their identity and it's all about how they feel and whatever they feel is valid. I would love to know, is there any limit to that? Does this person believe that if someone believes that they identify as a cat, that I must acknowledge that they are a cat?
Well, at least it wasn't the attack helicopter this time. Bonus points for the creativity, Brad. To be honest, Brad, you don't even acknowledge that some trans people are who they say they are, or non-binary people are who they say they are. So I don't even know why you're pretending like you're super stretched in every direction with all this tolerance you're having to give out. Like, oh, you get some tolerance, you get some tolerance, everybody gets some tolerance. Literally, I can't tell you who to respect, and I can't tell who you respect, but based on your videos, I know who you want your audience to disrespect.
Same people treat misgendering as if it's some sort of travesty and get so offended if their gender isn't constantly affirmed in paperwork and society and reflected by everyone else. But I thought it was personal. I thought it was individual. Which is it? I can't keep up.
The idea that you can't have something personal and then expect other people to respect it is a moot point when there are clearly other identifiers that work the same way. For example, my name's Willy, your name's Brad. They're personal names to us, but we expect other people to use them. And if they use them wrong, we could correct them. This example that you're trying to give of, oh, you know, there's so many people who get angry when you misgender them. You're obviously talking about the minority's minority, but hey, if that's what you need to do to get a point, I'll let you have it. Most of my exposure of these super embarrassing trans or queer activists, they're from these people. I never actually get it from the people themselves. It's interesting.
So for a second there, I thought she was actually about to get it. That the reason we care is because this absurd, nonsensical stuff ruins the reputation of the LGBT community. And then acceptance is going down because it's been lumped in with absurdity and evil things like sterilizing kids with unproven medical treatments. But then she seemed to just walk away from that point after coming so close to getting it.
Did you clock that tool he just did, right? So, I don't know. So some content creators, they sort of like casually introduce a new concept that nobody was speaking about.
It's been lumped in with absurdity and evil things like sterilizing kids with unproven medical treatment.
And they do this, it's a shock. Normally it's a shock value style comment that's never really backed up with any sources, data or statistics, but it's done to essentially evoke really quick emotional responses and solidify their cause as worthy. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm saying because Brad's side is pioneering for the kids. Like, me as an individual personally is the one that's operating on them. I don't know what he's talking about here. Not a single one of us were discussing this, but thank you for letting us know. They'll throw in some random emotion manipulative comment and just go back to normal. Like, an example of this would be, Brad, I really enjoyed this video. Truly, it was interesting and I appreciate you responding to me. I just think it's a shame that Arielle couldn't be part of it, you know, because, you know, I saw a video where Calvin mentioned that she tried to see someone's bottom growth like a week after they just became legal whilst being a part of Gays Against Groomers. So I had more questions about that. The sky's blue, grass is green. Back to my video.
And then engage in something either rooted in ignorance or just an attempt at gaslighting to suggest that the only reason, you know, the radical trans voices are highlighted is because of critics like us highlighting them. That is simply not true. Critics like myself only emerged because these voices were already given such prominence, and then we felt the need to speak out and push back. And I can prove this in a second. One of the most controversial, offensive, and demeaning transgender activists in America, Dylan Mulvaney, was on The View, CBS News, CNN, and a bunch of other media this week.
So why didn't you just talk about Dylan? And I'm not saying that would be correct, but your logic isn't logicking. Dylan's on TV and that's why I'm bullying them. The math isn't mathing. They weren't on the CBS all over the media this week, but you know where they were? On your channel being platformed. Why did you have to bully kids enjoying Pride? And I've not said that you are the one who has platformed and created these radical lefts. That's straw man fallacy. I'm talking specifically about the people that you are laughing at and bullying. If you don't want to associate, stop filming about them. You act as if these people are coming to you when Arielle literally walked around Pride going to them. Make it make sense.
Making money from making people look stupid or whatever. I mean, sure, that describes most content creators and reaction channels, including, most notably, this Willy person.
She's got a point.
To be fair, I am a firm believer in treating people how I expect to be treated. And if I did create a video where I was just laughing at children enjoying Pride, I would expect for someone to call me out and actually hope that they would. So yes, I'm treating you exactly how I would like to be treated. You can say that you and Arielle were just discussing gender ideology very respectfully amongst each other. If that's the bow you want to wrap it in to help you sleep at night, that's fine, darling. But the truth of the matter is you and Arielle just sat there laughing at some kids going to Pride, which is the one space we should all be advocating for them to feel pride. You both mocked their stories and laughed at their yays whilst having no context about whether any of those individuals had to go through a journey to embrace and then celebrate their identity. You endorsed someone who openly admitted that the only reason they went to Pride was to laugh at children, but the only issue you seem to have is that I called her a little bit schmelly. Spineless. The fact that some people who experience videos like the ones that you create can be so tormenting, but you just label it bonus content, is the reason why I have no apologies about anything that I have said.
It's actually a rare exception to my content that we did for a fun bonus video, but go off, I guess. Anyway, I thought this lady, this Willy person, actually is pretty funny and very good at editing videos. I really liked her editing style and her presentation, and I found her to be very aggressive.
An example of a microaggression is when somebody can sit in a video very passively laughing at someone bullying other people and just think it's funny content, but when somebody else does the exact same thing and look like me, it's
Aggressive.
So Arielle smells like transphobia and you smell like microaggression. Besides that, I truly appreciate your compliments about my editing. I also saw your invite and I disrespectfully decline as I do not wish to be part of your pony show. But to everyone else now, Brad, appreciate you. We're done now. Thank you. To everyone else, how did you think about this? Did you think this was okay? It was a good response video? It's my first response video. It's baby's first response video. Anyways, if you like our content, don't forget to hit subscribe, like. We want 50k before the end of May. We'd really appreciate you doing so. So regardless of whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, put your comments down below and I'm sure we can kiki and come to some form of conclusion. All right, drink water, eat your roots, and Leo will see you in the next video. I can't believe I've gone 3 times in this week. I'm on fire. Goodbye. Arielle was sad because I said that she smells. I said Brad has white teeth and now he is upset. Someone called me fat like I didn't know that.